Did you see the PSE Mach 30 DS last year and think to yourself, man, I just wish that bow was a little bit longer? Meet the PSE Mach 33 DS. Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery. New bow video day. PSE, obviously, this is their flagship carbon bow for 2025, the PSE Mach 33 DS. All right, so last year we had the Mach 30 DS, this year 33. Obviously that refers to the axle to axle, the longer length there. So, it's basically the same bow. There are some differences. We'll go through that, besides the obvious axle to axle length difference. But on this bow here, I do have the EC2 cam. That is the same cam that was on the Mach 30 DS. This one's gonna have, on the 33, you're gonna have the draw length. You know, there were a lot of folks, the Mach 30 DS only went out to 30-inch draw. The Mach 33 now with that EC2 cam, that's gonna go from 25.5 inches to 31 inches. So it will get out to an inch longer draw length. You are gonna have a bigger brace height, 6 5/8 inches versus 6 inches. So the speed rating is gonna go down. This one's got a speed rating of up to 335 feet per second. Other than that, same bow. Same dead frequency carbon that PSE has come known for, you know, super dead in your hand. Most importantly, made in the USA. PSE is one of the only ones, if not the only one, making their carbon bows in the US. What's unique about this bow for me this year is that, you know, we're not doing our normal setup where we show you, where we take it out of the box, tune it, do all that stuff. We'll get a speed test for you and do some shooting with it. But this bow I've actually had for a couple months now. Been spending time with it, and if you recall, the Mach 30 DS, all right, last year that was the Outdoor Life Bow of the Year. I was on the team that picked that. I shot that bow myself. We did a video. PSE sent us one, we set it up. I shot it at 100 yards at a caribou with a fixed blade broadhead. 10 ringed the caribou at 100 yards with my first shot. We did our LAS Steel Target Challenge. I shot the Mach 30 DS for that. Hit 4-inch holes at 60, 65, 80 yards, and then hit the Elk Vital at 100 yards. Came in second place. Point of all that being is I shot that thing ridiculously well. I love that bow, and what am I gonna say? This one shoots a little bit better. It's just a little bit more stable with that 6 5/8 inch brace height. The draw cycle is just a little bit smoother. Now, I thought the 30 was smooth. I had no issues with that. But when I shot the 33, and it was where the cam rolls over. On the 33, it's just a little bit smoother than it is on the 30. So I like the draw cycle better. The pin just absolutely does not move. So one of the things that I've been doing with this is I've been shooting it indoors, shooting Vegas 300 round with it. Now, shooting it at 70 pounds with the UltraView 4.5 millimeter, you know, short stabilizer, it is a bow hunting setup. I've taken this bow hunting, and how I take it to the tree stand is exactly how I've been shooting it indoors. And it just holds ridiculously well. I've been able to shoot a couple of 293s, 294s, 295s. We're gonna shoot a 300 round here with it. We'll see how I do with that. But point being is that I never would shoot a hunting bow as a hunting bow setup, I would never shoot a 300 round. I just can't be consistent enough with them. With this one, I can. And so then at distance, it's just even better. Just a ridiculously well shooting bow. There's, all the standard features on it that we want in a bow. Of course, it's gonna have your pick mount that we've seen for your sight. It's gonna have the IMS dovetail on the back. And on the carbon bow, it's not actually machined into the riser. It's a bolt-on piece that you then connect your integrate style rest. You're gonna have your standard bushings up front, and you do have one on the back side for front rod and stabilizers. I've been shooting it with just a 10-inch front rod with 4 ounces. That's it. That's how I carry it into the woods. And just, it has amazed me how stable this bow is. So coming up to the cam, rotating mod for draw length. It is gonna have an adjustable draw stop, so you can choose between 80, 85, 90% let off. I've settled on 85%. That seems to be the best for holding weight, especially shooting indoor. 90%, I'm just a little too loose. 85 seems to help me lock in there. It does have the easy 220 spacer system. We've talked about that before. That's gonna be your system for shifting the cam left and right. If you've never heard about it, you do have to put it in a press just to take tension off the axles. You don't have to take the axles out. Easy 220 spacers, they just pop out. You put the new one in and it moves the cam exactly where you need it. The Easy 220, the reason they use that number is you're going to use 2 spacers that come out to, that add up to 0.220 inches. So PSE has them matched up, to get to those, to get the proper spacing that you need. You just put the matched sets in, which I did have to use in this one to get it to paper tune for me. Paper tuned it. Just to make sure everything was shooting right with this bow. So PSE does have their unique yoke system here. What it is the cable comes up, you split the bundle into 2, they cross over, and then they do come up to the cams here on either side. You can use those a little bit for paper tuning, twisting one side just like you would standard yokes to the outside, but it doesn't move, it doesn't manipulate the cam much. You're better off using just the Easy 220 system. Coming down, we do have this new, it's sort of like an erector set type of cable arm here, just super solid cable arm. That's just a real stable system for getting your cables to move through, as the cams rotate back and forth. Having them go on the back side of the roller, that's a real stable system for that. Coming down, they do have, the bow does come with this lower dampener down there. Incidentally, that could be a stabilizer mount as well, a low stabilizer mount, but just kills some of that vibration. Dead frequency carbon. Carbon doesn't really have vibration. It's more of a thump. And this one, it's light. I mean, you don't really feel much of a thump at all. But one of the coolest things that I discovered just by accident is, okay, this bow is 33 inches axle to axle versus the Mach 30, which is 30 inches axle to axle. And I don't know how this is possible, but I'm going to show it to you. But this bow, 3 inches bigger than this bow, it only weighs 1.4 ounces more than this one. And because it's longer, I'm sure it's just an optical illusion to me, it feels lighter. It's 1.4 ounces heavier, but because it's bigger, it feels lighter than this one. But I got brought in my special little fishing scale here. So I just wanted to show you. So the only things, these bows both have identical, basically the only thing on them is they have the QAD Ultra Rest MX2 on there, and then everything else is identical. They're identical dampeners that they have, peep sights. So I just wanted to show you what these weigh. There's nothing more or less on one or the other. So there we go. 4.38 pounds. That's the Mach 33. Okay. .29. So that is 0.09 pounds. And I looked it up because I didn't know what that was to ounces, but 0.09 pounds is 1.4 ounces. 1.4 ounces more for a bow that's 3 inches longer. That, I don't know why, that just blew my mind away that this bow is that light. So, you know, there's not, one of the reasons that you get carbon is for the lightweight, and so I was infatuated with the fact last year that this bow was so light. All right, I'm gonna take that hunting. I can go to the longer bow and I'm not adding any weight. 1.4 ounces, I'm not gonna feel that. So yeah, just, you know, it was surprising to me, as I mentioned. I was part of the team that picked the Mach 30 DS as the bow of the year. And that was based on the fact that the team of us just shot that thing lights out. This one shoots better. I like the way it shoots better. It is a little bit slower. We'll show you that in our speed test, but I'm not a speed freak. I don't care. And we're talking like 5 feet per second. That is negligible to me. 50-yard group. Yeah, so those of you out there who were, you know, maybe a little hesitant because you're like, 30 inches, I usually like longer bow. Western hunters, you guys like to shoot that distance there. Now you have one that's 33 inches. Although I will say, this does still have what PSE calls their full draw stability. And I think that's what helped with the Mach 33. You know, on paper, this one shouldn't shoot well at distance, but I shot it better than most bows at distance. I think that's because of the full draw stability, which is built into that. And I think that is something that's misunderstood. A lot of folks think, that's just marketing jargon, but I think it's because people don't really understand it. And it hasn't been explained to the best. But what that is, full draw stability. So what it means is the dynamic brace height of this bow shifts. So right now it's at 6 5/8, and I'll show you how we measure this. 6 5/8, we understand brace height. That's the gap from here to here. And you get this because the string is coming off the cam, coming straight down between the cams. That's what gives you your brace height. So what happens is this bow, when it comes to full draw, the brace height is gonna actually get bigger. It's gonna act like it's getting bigger. Once we measure that, I'll show you what it is. I'm not sure what it is yet. I haven't measured it. I'll see it when I measure it with you. But it's extending that brace height. And so what that does to the shooter is it resists torque. And with other bows, what we've seen when we measure the brace height at full draw, this is a simulated brace height. We're gonna take a string and hang it down from the cam. Other bows, that brace height gets shorter than the actual brace height. So by PSE, the way the cam rolls over and the limbs flex, it extends it out and it fights torque. And the only way I can describe that to you is that I feel it at full draw. There's other 30-inch bows that I have shot. I shot them alongside this one, and when I'm at full draw, I can just feel that it's easier to move them this way than it is this bow. Same with this. When I'm at full draw, just torquing it is harder, and I torque the bow. I'm torquing it. I'm bad about that. But I can feel that it's easier with bows that don't have that full draw stability. So it's something that you have to experience to fully understand it, but I'll show you that here in our bow press. All right, so we have our PSE Mach 33 DS in our last chance draw board. This is to show you what we're talking about with dynamic brace height. So I have the bow at full draw, locked in place, and then what I did was I took a section of number 23 BCY D-loop material, and connect it there. It's about the same thickness as a bowstring. But I have it taped in place. Don't do this at home. We did this. We took a lot of safety precautions. We have an extra anchor on there. We just took a lot of precautions. What you don't want to happen is for the bow to fire, so don't try this at home. But we did it so that we can show you this. But what you can see is the D-loop material now. It's running from cam to cam. That would be what your bowstring would look like if the bow were at rest. And so remember, our brace height, measurement from the grip to the string, was 6 5/8 when the bow was at rest. So now we're going to show you what this dynamic brace height is. So I can't get the tape all the way in against the grip because of our holder here, but we can get it pretty close, and I'll run it straight rather than angle it in. And it's like just over 7 3/4 inches, a little bit over, like a 1/16 over 7 3/4. And remember, it was 6 5/8. So that's what we're talking about with that dynamic brace height. When it comes to full draw, it acts like it extends it. 7 3/4, that's like target bow area. And so that just reduces the impacts of torque. And like I said, we have tested other bows, and that dynamic brace height on other bows actually gets smaller at full draw. Everything flexes in. We've seen bows that had 6 inches to go down to 5 inches for the dynamic brace height. But the PSE got bigger, and that's how they're able to, that's what they call their full draw stability, because it's fighting torque. All right, got our last chance draw scale here to see what our poundage is. $69.4 with 11 pounds of holding weight. We got our 350 grain arrow. The draw length is set at 30 inches. So those are the specs. 70 pounds, 30-inch draw, 350 grain arrow. That's what they get their speed. That's what they use to get their speed rating. So here we go. .327.2 we got there. So you remember the speed rating for the bow is 335 feet per second, but of course we have a peep sight, we got a D-loop on there. We're within 8 feet per second. That's pretty much on to spec. All right, so now I talked about shooting the 300, so let's go out there on the range. Incidentally, a 300, what does that mean? So that a Vegas round, a typical Vegas round, that's an indoor competition. We shoot it at 18 meters, 20 yards. And we're shooting a very specific target that they shoot at the Vegas shoot, where I shoot 30 arrows. And a perfect score is a 300. So that's what we're gonna go out there and shoot with this bow. And with it set in a bow hunting setup, as I said, I normally wouldn't even think about doing that with a bow hunting bow, but with this one, man, I just feel like that. I feel like I can shoot a 300. I hope I do it today, maybe not, but let's go out there and shoot this 300 round. All right, here we go. PSE Mach 33 DS in the full bow hunting setup. 10-inch, 2 ounces on the front, basic, no lens in there. Shooting my True Ball Execute that I hunt with. UV 1K, 4.5 millimeters. So the only thing that would be different when I go out hunting is I'd put broadheads in there instead of those field points. 70 pounds I'm pulling here, so I am gonna shoot a 300 Vegas round. And I will be honest, this is completely different when that camera's running than when I'm sitting here just shooting by myself. I can feel like my heart rate going up. And the only thing that's different is that camera's on. So anyway, we'll see what we can do. Just shot a 7, but I'm powering through. Ouch. All right, here we go. Last end. We'll go down there and look at my target. Nerves. The bow is shooting great, aiming great. It's my nerves. My big misses, I have a 7. That was my worst shot so far, and it was 100% nerves. Just turning the camera on, my heart rate right now is like through the roof. It's just added pressure. But the bow is shooting solid. Good shooting. Remember, hunting bow, full hunting setup. So the bow, like I said, the reason I wanted to do this 300 challenge was for self-torture. But just because I know this bow just feels so steady that I felt like I could do well on a 300 round. And this is at a bow hunting setup. It just, the pin sits right where I want it. It's nice and still. The draw cycle is smooth. I'm comfortable at full draw. I have it set, as I said, I'm shooting 70 pounds and I have it at 85% let off. It's comfortable. Comfortable enough that I felt like, hey, I'm gonna shoot a 300 round with this bow in a true hunting setup. Yeah, as we mentioned last year, Mach 30 DS was Outdoor Life Bow of the Year. And just when I started shooting this one, I was like, man, as good as that bow shot, this one just aims a little bit better. One more. Good enough. 998. Soon as I said to myself, last end, my worst end. But the PSE Mach 30 DS, I mean, this thing is just ridiculous how well it aims. So I ended up with, let's see here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So a 289. And, you know, I could shoot much better than that. But that's how steady this thing holds, that I just felt confident that I could do this, and I was shooting much better when the camera wasn't rolling. But it draw cycle's nice, 70 pounds for me. I'll be 57 in a month. So I'm shooting 70 pounds for a 300 round. That's a lot of wear and tear on my shoulders, but that's how good this thing aims. All right, so that is the PSE Mach 33 DS. Again, as I said, for those of you who saw the 30 last year and just wished it was a little bit bigger, now PSE has delivered for you in that 33-inch version. All carbon bow, super light, just a great shooting bow from the folks at PSE. So this bow is gonna be what's considered a pro shop only bow. So you can only get it from your local pro shop. You can't get it online. You know, Lancaster Archery Supply, we don't sell it on our website. Nobody's selling them on the website, so you have to go to your local pro shop in order to buy this bow. If we are your local pro shop, come on down. We've got it for you to check out. But if you want to see it, see what the options are, what the color options, etc., you can click the link in the description below and check it out on our website. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. As always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at lancasterarchery.com.